What's going on there, guys? We're back with another one. Want to talk a little bit of Shedeur Sanders briefly on today. And first, let's get into his jersey sales as he's overtaken the top spot amongst rookies. Coming into this month, it was Cam Ward, Travis Hunter, then Shedeur Sanders. That has flipped where now Shedeur Sanders is number one, Travis Hunter number two, Cam Ward number three, Ashton Janty number four, Abdul Carter number five, and Jackson Dart, is number six. And the top 10 is rookies, basically, are mostly comprised of guys who went in the first round, except for Shedeur Sanders, who went in the fifth round. But yes, he leads in jersey sales right now amongst rookies. A lot of it has to do with people wanting to see what happens over there in Cleveland with the quarterback position, and the reports that's coming out is that he's excelling. I don't want to say ahead of schedule, but he's proving a lot of his supporters right. Now, it seems to be some agenda against Shedeur Sanders with certain media. I've seen an individual the other day say that Shedeur is having scripted practices where basically at the OTAs, they are giving him favorable matchups for throwing, and so that's why he got into the end zone three times. Time for all the other quarterbacks combined. He got in three times and all the other ones combined got in three times. And so they're basically saying that, and by the way, let me say this, he had the least amount of snaps too, but they're saying that, he got favorable matchups where his receivers were far superior to the defense that was provided, for his segment. Which I think that's a new one. That's crazy, to try to discredit this man. You saying he can't throw the ball with accuracy, he doesn't have an arm, and you're concerned about his ability at the quarterback position. But when he goes out there and controls what he can control, now it's another narrative spun around it. Well, a former NFL executive, he does not agree with that at all. And this is what he had to say about it.
I think it should be Shedeur from day one. When we had Mark Sanchez in New York as a rookie, he started from day one. Things worked out. We had a couple of years of really good success. But if I'm Cleveland, Joe Flacco is a great backup. He's going to be 40. I would have Dillon Gabriel compete with Shedeur. I'm assuming that Shedeur will beat him out. I think he has more ability. And by the end of the season, the Cleveland Browns, Christine, have to know what they have in Shedeur Sanders and Dillon Gabriel. Look, Kenny Pickett just hasn't worked out. He's been a little bit of a journeyman. Maybe you trade him at the end of training camp. But to me, job 1, 2, and 3 is you need to know what you have in Sanders and Dillon Gabriel, and I would play those guys right away, let them have a competition, and in my view, Shedeur has more ability, and I assume he'd be the guy.
Yeah. I watch him. He's talented. I hear things. He's handling things well. We'll see. He's 2 days in. He's 2 weeks in. He's going to have to win every single day in the meetings, in the asking questions, in the staying after practice, and all of that, because just to earn more chances. Right? And we're going to really judge, and I'm going to be a part of it when we get to the summer and these joint practices, because that's where it's going to be. But to earn those chances, he has to do it. Now, and I really think the other guy does too, because I don't see the other guy impressing at all. And I'm not trying to be personal with him.
Right,
he does not look like an NFL quarterback. And 31 other draft rooms didn't think he was a second-day pick. Yeah. So he's going to have to earn those too, because eventually they're going to matter. Right now, we're just talking about them. They don't matter.
The first individual that spoke, he was with the Jets. He was the GM when they drafted Mark Sanchez, started on day one, and, they did pretty decent. And so he's talking about it from that perspective. I always said, with the Cleveland Browns, obviously Deshaun Watson is not your quarterback of the future going forward. I mean, he's had his opportunities. And, you finish this contract out, but he's not going to be the guy that you move forward with. I would think that they would know that. They are pretty firmly agreeing upon that, right? Flacco, 40 years old. I mean, if he starts all year, what is the ultimate plan with that? Because he's not a quarterback of the future. Kenny Pickett, journeyman. He's not going to be the guy of the future as well. So what do you have? Dillon Gabriel and Shedeur Sanders. The second individual that spoke, he said that Dillon Gabriel is not impressing at all. He said Shedeur has more ability. Now, I agree with that. It's a loss for the Cleveland Browns this season if they don't know what they have in their quarterbacks. They're two rookies. Shedeur being drafted in the fifth round, I've seen another reporter say that he may be cut steal from the roster. I think we're past that. He's doing great. In the OTAs and rookie minicamp, he has the highest selling jersey amongst rookies. So it don't make business sense or football sense right now for him to be cut. They did make a good point. Dillon Gabriel drafted in the third round. Third rounders don't necessarily get cut. But I mean, what's the issue with Dillon Gabriel ultimately becoming the backup? I think early on in his career, I mean that would be an accomplishment for him. Shedeur having the opportunity, and when I look at Shedeur, right, Shedeur is a good bit taller. It's noticeable, and that's another thing to consider. Shedeur, I think a lot of times you look at Dillon Gabriel coming from Oregon under Dan Lanning, ironically enough, with the back and forth him and Coach Prime had over a season ago. I think sometimes when you don't have a great offensive line in college and you have to process things quickly, you're always under pressure and you have to perform. I think players like Shedeur Sanders can translate easier than someone like Dillon Gabriel, a smaller quarterback who had favorable matchups most times with his offensive line. And, you can hold the ball 2.5, 3, 4 seconds sometimes in most of your matchups. And so that is fool's gold when it's time to translate to the league. And he's smaller. He like 5'10", 5'11". Shedeur is 6'1", like he average height. So again, I think you have to see what's going on with those guys early and often. I would expect, and I would start in the preseason. I would give those guys most of the preseason snaps and let them try to earn it. By week 3 or 4, no later than that, one of those rookie quarterbacks should be starting, in my estimation. I couldn't just sit around and wait to week 10 or something like that, because you have to give them a chance to potentially do something special. You can galvanize a team behind the quarterback of the future, or Shedeur, Dillon Gabriel, whoever you choose, come out playing really well. And I'm gonna have to be honest, I'm not a fan of guys who are not 6 foot or better, at the QB position. I think that is an uphill battle most times. Obviously we have some outliers, but most of the time that presents a really tough challenge, but I think Shedeur, man, I think the way this thing has played out, him having the opportunity to go out and have to earn his job, I think is one of the best things that could have happened to him. Because now, the way that they were saying that, oh, you play for your dad, you only getting these opportunities because of your dad, that conversation is completely out the window now because he has to earn it. So I think his ability gets to shine and he gets to earn it from the bottom. And it's going to be beauty when he rises to the top. When the cream rises to the top, this is going to be a beautiful story we can look back on. And for quarterbacks in the future, it's going to be inspirational when they fall in the draft. So let me know what you guys think about this in the comment section. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Till next time. Peace.